Daeho rubbed his tired eyes and stared again at the screen. The numbers didn't make sense. He had checked 3 times already. "Computer, run stellar position check on Sol 3 again," he said. The computer beeped. "Analysis complete. Sol 3 has shifted 0.00027 arc seconds from expected position." Daeho leaned back in his chair. The small yellow star shouldn't have moved. Stars didn't just change position on their own. Not without causing massive destruction. Yet the readings were clear. The Imperial Cartography Station hung in space like a giant metal spider, its 8 long arms extending from a central hub. Each arm contained sensors that mapped the galaxy. Daeho had worked here for 15 years. He knew every star in Sector 7. Sol 3 was boring. A yellow star with 9 planets. The 3rd planet had primitive life forms who called themselves humans. The Empire classified them as Level 2, aware of space but unable to travel beyond their own moon. Not worth talking to. Not worth trading with. Just another entry in the vast Imperial database. Until today. Daeho stood up and walked to the large viewing window. Station Nexus Prime orbited the Imperial capital world. From here, he could see the gleaming city towers that covered the planet. 63 species lived under Imperial rule, all more advanced than humans. He touched the screen to bring up Sol 3's file. The star was 27,000 light-years from the capital. The Empire had sent probes there a century ago. The reports described humans as short-lived beings who fought each other over land and resources. They had basic computers and primitive space vehicles. Nothing special. The door slid open behind him. "Senior Astronomer Daeho, you're still here. Your shift ended 3 hours ago." Station Commander Jun entered with a cup of steaming liquid in his hand. "Sir, I found something strange." Daeho pointed at his screen. "Sol 3 has moved." Jun sipped his drink and frowned. "Stars don't move. This one did. Look at the position from last year and now." Jun studied the numbers. "Your equipment is faulty. Run a system check." "I already did. 3 times. The star moved. It's small, but real." "Sol 3. Jun pulled up the file. "The one with the primitive bipeds." "Yes, humans. They're still fighting over that blue planet." Jun laughed. "They can barely reach their own moon. They certainly can't move a star." "I didn't say they moved it. I just said it moved." Jun patted Daeho's shoulder. "You've been working too hard. Take tomorrow off. I'll have engineering check your sensors." "But sir." "That's an order, Senior Astronomer." Jun's voice was firm but kind. "Get some rest." After Jun left, Daeho stared at the data again. He knew he wasn't wrong. He copied the files to his personal device. If the star moved again, he would have proof. 3 weeks later, Daeho stood before Commander Jun's desk. "It moved again," he said, placing his device on the desk. "Another 0.00032 arc seconds. That's twice in 1 month." Jun's face was serious now. "I had engineering check everything. Your equipment is working perfectly." "Then you believe me." "I believe something strange is happening. But not that humans are moving their star. That's impossible." Daeho nodded. "I agree. But what if something else is moving it? Something dangerous?" Jun thought for a moment. "Do you think it could affect the Empire?" "I don't know. But a moving star breaks every law of physics we know." Jun tapped his desk. A holographic display appeared, showing the Imperial chain of command. He pressed a name. "Science Council Member Jinwoo. I'll send your findings to Counselor Jinwoo. He oversees unusual phenomena." "Thank you, sir." "Don't thank me yet." Jun looked worried. "The Empire doesn't like mysteries. If this turns out to be nothing, it could hurt your career." Daeho stood straight. "And if it's something important that I ignored?" Jun nodded slowly. "That would be worse. Much worse." As Daeho left the office, he looked once more at the star chart. The small yellow dot labeled Sol 3 seemed so insignificant, but something about it made him uneasy. Stars weren't supposed to move. Somewhere, 27,000 light-years away, the human sun continued its impossible journey through space. 3 months passed. Daho had not slept well for weeks. Each day, he checked the position of Sol 3. Each day, the star moved a little more. It was no longer possible to deny. The door to the observation deck slid open. Commander June entered with a tall man in the dark blue robes of the Imperial Science Council. "Senior Astronomer Daho, this is Counselor Jinwoo," said June. Daho bowed low. "It is an honor, Counselor." Jinwoo did not smile. "Show me what you have found." Daho brought up the star charts on the main screen. "Here is Sol 3 1 year ago." He tapped a button. "Here it is now." Jinwoo's eyes narrowed. "The movement is accelerating." "Yes, sir. Each month, it moves faster than the month before. It's following a clear path." "Where is it going?" Daho showed a projection. "If it continues, it will reach this point in about 5 years." Jinwoo stared at the chart. "That's the edge of Imperial space." "Yes, sir. And you're certain this is not an error?" 5 different systems have confirmed it. Sol 3 is moving. Jinwoo turned to Commander Jun. "I need to use your private communication room." After they left, Daho returned to his work, but his mind kept going back to the strange moving star. What could make a star move? And why was it heading toward the edge of Imperial space? Far away on the blue planet called Earth, Han Bin wiped sweat from his forehead. The underground facility was always hot, despite being built beneath the Pacific Ocean floor. "Power levels are holding steady," he said to his colleague. Su-Jin nodded, her fingers flying across the control panel. "Core temperature is optimal. The field is stable." They worked in a massive circular room. The walls were lined with screens showing numbers, charts, and images of the sun. In the center of the room was a scale model of the solar system. A soft blue glow came from beneath the floor. "Phase 1 is proceeding exactly as planned," said Su-Jin. "The council will be pleased." Han Bin checked his own screens. "The Imperials have noticed. They're tracking us." "We expected that. How long until they send someone to investigate?" "Based on their protocols, probably 3 to 4 months." Su-Jin smiled. "By then, we'll be ready for Phase 2. Han Bin walked to the large window that looked out into the ocean. Fish swam past, unaware of the secret facility hidden beneath the seafloor. Earth's greatest project had been in planning for over 200 years. Now it was finally happening. "Do you ever wonder if we're doing the right thing?" he asked. Su-Jin joined him at the window. "The Empire has conquered 63 worlds. They've stripped resources from hundreds more. They would have come for Earth eventually." "I know, but moving the sun, it's never been done before. That's why they won't see us coming." Su-Jin put her hand on Han Bin's shoulder. "We've hidden in plain sight for centuries. They think we're primitive. By the time they realize what we can do, it will be too late." An alarm beeped softly. Han Bin returned to his station. "Director Kang is calling from the surface," he said. The main screen lit up. Director Kang's face appeared, serious as always. "Progress report," he said. "All systems nominal," replied Su-Jin. "We've achieved 12% of planned velocity. Power consumption is within expected parameters. The Imperials have noticed the movement," added Han Bin. Director Kang nodded. "We anticipated this. Continue as planned. The Council has approved the acceleration schedule. Prepare for Phase 2 in 4 months." "Yes, Director," they said together. The screen went dark. Han Bin looked at the model of the sun in the center of the room. From space, it looked like a normal star. No one would guess what was inside, what humans had built around it, within it. "Imperials think they know everything," said Su-Jin, following his gaze. "They catalogued our sun as an unremarkable G-type main sequence star. They never bothered to look closer. Their mistake," said Hanbin. On the screens above them, the sun continued its impossible journey through space. The Empire had no idea what was coming. The science vessel Celestial Inquiry dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. It was the most advanced research ship in the Imperial fleet, equipped with sensors that could analyze a star's core from millions of kilometers away. Captain Ta stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back. He had been given a simple mission: find out why Sol 3 was moving and report back to Imperial Command. Scan the star, he ordered. The ship's science officer, a thin woman named Ji Su, bent over her console. Initial scans show normal stellar activity on the surface. Temperature, radiation, and magnetic field are all within expected parameters. What about its movement? Confirmed. The star is definitely moving. Current velocity is impossible. Ji Su frowned at her screen. Sir, these readings can't be right. Captain Ta moved to her side. What do you mean? The star is moving as a single unit. That's not how stars work. When stars move, they leave a trail of material behind. This one is moving like a ship. That's impossible, said Captain Ta. No species could move an entire star. I know, sir, but the data is clear. Captain Ta returned to his command chair. Take us closer. I want detailed scans of the star itself. The Celestial Inquiry moved deeper into the system, passing the outer planets. The crew was quiet. Everyone knew this mission was unusual. Stars didn't move on their own. As they approached the inner solar system, Ji Shu called out, Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy patterns around the star. What kind of patterns? It looks like a containment field, massive in scale. It surrounds the entire star. Captain Te's face showed shock for the first time. Show me. The main view screen changed to show Sol 3, the yellow star at the center of the system. As the computer enhanced the image, a faint web of blue light became visible around the star. That's artificial, said Ji Shu. Someone built that. The humans? Asked Captain Ta. They barely have space stations. They couldn't build something like this. Sir, I'm detecting more structures. They appear to be inside the star's corona. The view screen zoomed in further. Hidden within the burning outer layer of the sun were massive metal structures. They formed a complex network that wrapped around the entire star. It's a stellar engine, whispered Ji Shu. The humans have built a stellar engine around their sun. Captain Ta stared at the screen. How? Their technology was assessed at level 2. This is at least level 9 technology. Even the Empire doesn't have this capability. Sir, said the communications officer, we're being scanned. Something on the third planet has detected us. Hide nothing, ordered Captain Ta. Let them see us. We're here on a scientific mission. Ji Su continued her analysis. The stellar engine is drawing energy from the star's natural fusion process. It's converting that energy into directional thrust. That's how they're moving it. But why? Asked Captain Ta. Why would they move their entire star system? Before Ji Su could answer, the communications officer spoke again. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Earth. Captain Ta straightened his uniform. Put it on screen. The image of the sun disappeared, replaced by a human face. A woman with calm eyes looked back at them. Imperial vessel, this is Admiral Yuna of Earth Space Command. Welcome to the Sol system. We've been expecting you. Captain Ta was too shocked to speak for a moment. The humans not only knew they were coming, but they had a space command and ships. This is Captain Ta of the Imperial science vessel Celestial Inquiry. We are here to investigate the movement of your star. Admiral Yuna smiled. Yes, we thought you might be curious about that. Would you like to come down to Earth for discussions, or would you prefer us to send a diplomatic vessel to meet you? Captain Ta looked at Ji Su, who seemed equally confused. The humans were supposed to be primitive. They weren't supposed to have diplomatic vessels or admirals. We will maintain our position, said Captain Ta. You may send your vessel. After the transmission ended, Jixu turned to her captain. Sir, we need to alert Imperial Command immediately. The humans have been hiding their true technological level. This changes everything. Captain Ta nodded. The Empire has never been wrong about a species' capabilities before. How did we miss this? Jaisu looked back at the image of the stellar engine. I think they wanted us to miss it. Sir, I think they've been hiding from us all along. 3 hours after the communication, a sleek silver ship emerged from Earth's atmosphere. It moved with impossible grace, leaving no heat trail or radiation signature. Captain Ta watched it approach on the main view screen. No propulsion system that I can detect. How are they moving that ship? Jaisu shook her head. Unknown, sir. Our sensors can't identify the technology. The Earth ship, named Earthrise according to the markings on its hull, stopped 500 meters from the Imperial vessel. It was smaller than the Celestial Inquiry, but its design was elegant and clearly advanced. They're requesting permission to dock, said the communications officer. Captain Tai straightened his uniform. Grant permission. Prepare the diplomatic reception area. Full security protocols. When the airlock opened, 3 humans entered the Imperial ship. 2 wore simple blue uniforms with no visible weapons. The third, a woman with short black hair and steady eyes, wore a white uniform with gold markings on the shoulders. Admiral Yuna of Earth Space Command, she said, bowing slightly. Thank you for receiving us, Captain Ta. Tai tried to hide his surprise. How did she know his name? He had never mentioned it in their brief communication. Welcome aboard the Celestial Inquiry, he said. This is my first officer, Jishu. Jaisu studied the humans carefully. Your ship's technology is unexpected. Admiral Yuna smiled. Yes, I imagine it would be. The Empire's assessment of our technological level was quite inaccurate. Deliberately so, said Ta. You've been hiding your capabilities. Of course we have, said Yuna. The Empire has a habit of special interest in civilizations with advanced technology. They moved to a conference room where screens showed images of Earth's sun and the massive structure surrounding it. Your stellar engine, said Ji Shu. It's beyond anything in Imperial records. Admiral Yuna nodded. We call it Project Daybreak. It's been in development for over 200 years. 200 years. Captain Tai was shocked. The Empire only discovered your planet 300 years ago. We know, said Yuna. We detected your probes the moment they entered our system. We've been aware of the Galactic Empire for much longer than you think. How? Asked Jishu. We've been listening to your communication networks for nearly 5 centuries, explained Yuna. Your encryption is quite good, but not perfect. Captain Ta tried to process this information. You're saying that while we thought you were fighting primitive wars over land and resources, we were studying you, finished Yuna. Learning your language, your technology, your culture, your strengths and weaknesses. Is that why you're moving your star? Asked Jishu. As a weapon against the Empire. Yuna's expression grew serious. No, we're moving our star because we had no choice. One of the other humans, a tall man with sharp features, handed Yuna a small device. She placed it on the table, and a holographic map of the galaxy appeared. The Empire is expanding in this direction, she said, pointing to a section of the map. In 50 years, your colonization efforts would reach our system. Based on Imperial protocols for resource-rich worlds, Earth would be stripped of its rare minerals. Our civilization would be relegated to a small reservation while Imperial mining corporations took what they wanted. Captain Ta couldn't deny it. Those were standard Imperial procedures for developing worlds. So instead of waiting, continued Yuna, we decided to move. Move your entire star system, asked Jisoo. That's extreme. Survival often is, at Yuna. We're heading toward a region outside Imperial space. We'll establish ourselves there, away from your expansion. Captain Tai studied the human woman carefully. The Empire won't allow this. A civilization with your level of technology, outside Imperial control. The Defense Ministry will see you as a threat. Admiral Yuna's eyes met his. We know. That's why we're having this conversation. We'd prefer peace, Captain. We've studied your history. We know what happens when the Empire feels threatened. War, said Jisoo quietly. Yes, said Yuna. A war neither of us wants, but one we've prepared for, just in case. Captain Ta felt a chill run down his spine. The humans weren't just running away. They were warning him. After the initial meeting, Admiral Yuna invited Captain Tai and Jisoo to visit Earth. The Imperial officers were surprised by the offer but accepted. Their orders were to gather information, and this was a perfect opportunity. The Earthrise carried them down through the atmosphere. Through the viewports, they saw vast cities, green forests, and blue oceans. The ship descended toward a large island in the Pacific Ocean. This doesn't match our records, said Jisoo, looking at her datapad. Our probes showed much smaller cities and primitive transportation systems. Admiral Yuma smiled. What your probes saw was what we wanted them to see. We've had holographic projections covering our major cities for centuries. The ship landed on a platform that sank beneath the ocean. They descended for several minutes before emerging into a massive underwater base. Welcome to Pacific Command, said Admiral Yuna, one of Earth's primary control centers. They walked through wide hallways, filled with humans working at advanced stations. The technology all around them was sleek and clearly beyond Imperial standards. In here, said Yuna, leading them into a large circular room. In the center stood a holographic display of the sun, rotating slowly to show the stellar engine wrapped around it. Han Bin and Su Jin were waiting for them. These are our chief engineers, said Yuna. They oversee Project Daybreak. Captain Ta looked at the display. Your technology is impossible. Your species is too young to have developed this. Han Bin exchanged glances with Admiral Yuna. She nodded. It's time they know the truth, she said. Han Bin touched a control panel. The holographic display changed, showing not Earth, but a different planet altogether. It had 2 moons and rings around it like the planet Saturn. This is Homeworld, said Han Bin, the original home of humanity. It's located in the Andromeda Galaxy. Captain Tai and Jisoo stared in shock. You're not from this galaxy? Asked Jisoo. No, said Sujin. Humans came to Earth approximately 50,000 years ago. We were refugees. The hologram changed again, showing massive ships traveling through space. Our civilization was ancient and advanced, continued Sujin. But we faced an enemy we couldn't defeat. Our only choice was to flee. What enemy? Asked Captain Ta. We call them the Devourers, said Admiral Yuna. They consume entire stars for energy. Our galaxy was their feeding ground. The hologram showed dark shapes moving between stars, each star dimming and then going dark as the shapes passed. We sent colony ships to many galaxies, said Han Bin. The one that came here contained 10 million people and our most advanced technology. Including the sun? Asked Jisoo. Admiral Yuna nodded. Yes. What you call Sol 3 isn't a natural star. It's a contained fusion reactor disguised as a star. It's the power core of our colony ship. Captain Ta stepped back, trying to process this information. You're saying your entire star is artificial? Yes, said Sujin. The original colony ship was designed to look like a normal star system once it reached its destination. The ship's main hull became Earth. The power core became the sun. But why hide? Asked Jisoo. Why pretend to be primitive when you arrived here? Because of what happened to our home galaxy, said Admiral Yuna. We learned to be careful. When we detected the first signs of the Empire expanding toward us, we decided to remain hidden while we studied you. And now you're reactivating your ship, said Captain Ta. You're leaving. We're surviving, corrected Han Bin, just as we always have. Admiral Yuna turned to face the Imperial officers directly. Now you know the truth. Humans aren't native to this galaxy. We're refugees with technology far beyond what the Empire possesses. We don't want war. We just want to be left alone. Captain Tay's mind was racing. This information would shake the Empire to its core. A species with the ability to create artificial stars, to disguise entire planets. The Imperial Defense Ministry would see them as an existential threat. The Empire won't just let you leave, he said quietly. We know, said Admiral Yuna. That's why we've prepared for other possibilities. The report from Captain Tai reached Nexus Prime in less than a day. The encrypted message went directly to the Imperial Palace, where Emperor Jam Min read it with growing concern. This can't be true, he said, passing the report to his defense minister, Hyun Kae. They stood in the Emperor's private study. The walls were lined with screens showing different parts of the Empire. One screen now displayed the Sol system, with the moving star marked in red. All evidence suggests it is true, Your Majesty, said Hyun Kae. Captain Tai is one of our most reliable officers. If he says the humans have this technology, they do. An artificial star, said Emperor Jamin, shaking his head. And they've kept it hidden for thousands of years. Chief Scientist Yun, an older woman with gray hair and calm eyes, studied the data on her pad. The science is theoretically possible. We've considered stellar engines before, but the energy requirements were too great. If the humans truly built one, then they are more advanced than we are, finished the Emperor, and they're moving their entire system out of our territory. Minister Hyun Ki's face darkened. This is clearly a threat, Your Majesty. They've been hiding, watching us, preparing. Now they reveal themselves by moving their star. This is the first step in an attack. We don't know that, said Chief Scientist Yun. Captain Tay's report indicates they wish to avoid conflict. Of course they would say that, snapped Hyun Kae. It's a deception. These humans have technology that could threaten the entire empire. We cannot allow them to leave our space. Their knowledge must be ours. Emperor Jamin walked to the window. From his palace, he could see the sprawling capital city that stretched to the horizon. The empire had stood for 10,000 years. In all that time, no species had ever possessed technology that the empire could not match or exceed. Until now. What options do we have? He asked. Minister Hyun Ki straightened. We must act decisively. I recommend deploying the 7th Fleet to the Sol system immediately. They can intercept the moving star and force the humans to surrender their technology. And if they resist? Asked Chief Scientist Yun. Then we destroy their planet, said Hyun Ki simply. We cannot allow such a threat to exist. Destroying them would mean losing their technology, pointed out the Emperor. We can capture key scientists first, said Hyun Kae. Extract what they know. Chief Scientist Un shook her head. A species that can build an artificial star and move it through space will have defenses we cannot imagine. Military action could be disastrous. Emperor Jamin returned to his desk. For the first time in centuries, he felt uncertainty. The Empire had always been the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. Its power had never been challenged. Deploy the 7th Fleet, he said finally. But their orders are to contain, not attack. I want the human system surrounded. Nothing gets in or out. Grand Admiral Min will take personal command. And then? Asked Hyun Ki. And then we negotiate, said the Emperor. I want to understand what these humans truly want, and what they are truly capable of. As the ministers left to carry out his orders, Emperor Jamin studied the image of the moving star once more. Something about this situation felt wrong. Why would the humans reveal themselves now, after hiding for so long? If they had such advanced technology, why hadn't they challenged the Empire before? There was something the humans weren't telling them. Some greater purpose behind moving their star. In his private office, Minister Hyun Ki contacted the commanders of the 7th Fleet. Prepare for immediate deployment to the Sol system. Full combat readiness. What about the Emperor's orders to contain only? Asked his aide. Minister Hyun Ki smiled coldly. If these humans are as dangerous as I believe, containment will quickly become impossible. The fleet should be prepared for all possibilities. Across the galaxy, Imperial warships began to move, their massive engines pushing them toward the small yellow star that had suddenly become the greatest mystery and the greatest threat the Empire had ever faced. 3 weeks later, 200 Imperial warships surrounded the Sol system. They formed a perfect sphere around the outer planets, their weapons aimed at the small blue world and its moving star. Grand Admiral Min stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. It was the largest warship ever built, capable of destroying an entire planet. "All ships are in position," reported his second-in-command. "The humans are completely contained. Any response to our demands?" asked Grand Admiral Min. "None, sir. They'd gone silent since we arrived." Min frowned. The humans' silence worried him. The Emperor had ordered him to demand that they stop moving their star and surrender their technology. But so far, Earth had ignored all communications. "Sir, call the sensor officer. I'm detecting energy spikes from the sun. Something's happening." On the main view screen, the yellow star suddenly flared bright blue. Waves of energy rolled across its surface. The stellar engine was changing. "What are they doing?" asked Min. Before anyone could answer, a message came from Earth. Admiral Yuna's face appeared on the view screen. "Grand Admiral Min," she said calmly, "I see the Empire has sent its fleet to stop us. That is unfortunate." "You will cease movement of your star immediately," said Min, "by order of Emperor Jamin." Admiral Yuna shook her head. "We cannot do that. Our course is set." "Then you leave us no choice," said Min. "We will." "Please," interrupted Yuna. "Before you make threats, there's something you should know. We're about to activate Phase 2 of our stellar engine. You might want to watch carefully." The transmission ended. Min turned to his sensor officers. "What's happening?" "Energy levels in their star are increasing rapidly," said one officer. "It's reaching impossible levels." On the view screen, the sun flared again, even brighter this time. A pulse of blue light shot from it, moving faster than anything Min had ever seen. Then the star stabilized, resuming its steady movement through space. "What was that pulse?" demanded Min. Before anyone could answer, urgent messages flooded in from across the galaxy. "Sir, we're receiving emergency signals from 17 different systems throughout the Empire," said the communications officer. "Show me," ordered Min. The view screen split into multiple images, each showing a different star system. In each one, a small star suddenly flared with the same blue light they had just witnessed from Earth's sun. Then, just as quickly, the stars returned to normal. "What just happened?" asked Min, his voice shaking for the first time. His science officer looked up from her screens, her face pale. "They were mini supernovas, sir. Controlled ones. Each star released a massive burst of energy, then stabilized." "That's impossible," said Min. "No one can control a supernova." "The humans just did," said the science officer. "In 17 systems at once." "Were there casualties?" asked Min. "No, sir. Each affected system was uninhabited. It appears to have been a demonstration." As if confirming this assessment, Admiral Yuna's face appeared on the view screen again. "I trust you observed our demonstration, Grand Admiral," she said. "Those 17 systems contain what you might call beacons. We placed them there centuries ago, waiting for this day." Min stared at her. "You're saying you can trigger supernovas at will? Across the galaxy?" "Controlled ones, yes," said Yuna. "We could have chosen inhabited systems. We did not." The bridge was completely silent. Everyone understood the implications. The humans could destroy any star in the galaxy. They could wipe out entire worlds without warning. "We seek peace, Grand Admiral," continued Yuna. "But we have prepared for war since before your empire existed. Please convey this message to Emperor Jamin. We will continue our journey out of Imperial space. Any attempt to stop us will be met with consequences. The transmission ended. Min stood frozen, facing the greatest military crisis in Imperial history. His second-in-command approached cautiously. "Sir, what are your orders?" Min looked at the yellow star on the view screen. It continued its steady movement, indifferent to the fleet surrounding it. "Contact the Emperor," he said quietly. Tell him we need to reconsider our approach." The space station Harmony Point hung in empty space, exactly halfway between the Sol system and Nexus Prime. It was neutral ground, chosen for the most important meeting in galactic history. Emperor Jamin arrived with a small delegation. Chief Scientist Ivan, 2 advisors, and 4 guards. He had left Minister Hyun-ki behind, knowing the man's aggressive stance would only make things worse. The human delegation arrived in a ship unlike any the Emperor had ever seen. It seemed to bend light around it, appearing and disappearing as it moved. Chairwoman Yun-jae led the humans. She was older than Admiral Yuna, with silver hair and eyes that seemed to hold ancient wisdom. They met in a simple room with a round table. No weapons were allowed. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting," said Emperor Jamin. "The demonstration of your technology was convincing." Chairwoman Yun-ji nodded. "We regret that it was necessary. We would have preferred to leave quietly." "Why didn't you?" asked the Emperor. "With your technology, you could have hidden your star's movement." "Because that would only delay the inevitable," said Yun-ji. "Your empire continues to expand. Sooner or later, you would find us again. We decided it was better to make our position clear now." Chief Scientist Yun leaned forward. "Your stellar engine technology is remarkable. How did you develop it?" "We didn't," said Yun-ji simply. "We inherited it." She placed a small device on the table. It projected a hologram showing an ancient race of beings. They looked similar to humans but taller, with slightly larger heads. "You've heard legends of the precursors," said Yun-ji. "The race believed to have seeded the galaxy with life before mysteriously vanishing." "Myths," said one of the Emperor's advisors. "Stories to explain the similarities between different species." "Not myths," said Yun-ji. "Truth. The precursors were real, and we are their descendants." The Imperial delegation stared in shock. "Impossible," whispered Chief Scientist Yun. "Why do you think so many species in this galaxy look similar?" asked Yun-ji. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. Because we all share the same ancestors. The precursors spread life throughout this galaxy, and when they faced destruction, some escaped. The hologram changed to show massive ships leaving a galaxy consumed by darkness. "Our ancestors fled to the Andromeda Galaxy," continued Yun-ji. "There we rebuilt our civilization. For millions of years, we flourished, until the Devourers found us again." "What are these Devourers?" asked Emperor Jamin. Chairwoman Yun-ji's face grew grim. "They are not from our universe. They come from somewhere else. They feed on stars, on energy. Entire galaxies have fallen to them." The hologram showed dark shapes moving between stars, consuming their light. "When they found us in Andromeda, we fled again," said Yun-ji. "Colony ships were sent to many galaxies. One came here. We became the humans of Earth." "And you've been hiding ever since," said the Emperor. "Why?" "To prepare," said Yun-ji. "The Devourers are coming to this galaxy, Emperor Jamin. They've already consumed 3 neighboring galaxies. They will reach this one within 1,000 years." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "This is why we built the beacons," continued Yun-ji. "Why we developed the stellar engine. Not to threaten your empire, but to prepare all life in this galaxy for what's coming." Emperor Jamin looked at the hologram of the darkness consuming entire star systems. "If what you say is true, why move your star now? Why not stay and help us prepare?" "Because your empire is not ready to listen," said Yun-ji. "You see other civilizations as subjects to rule, not allies to stand with. We needed to show you our strength before you would hear our warning. The Emperor stood and walked to the window. Outside, stars shone in the blackness of space. His empire spanned thousands of those stars. Millions of species lived under imperial protection. And now, an enemy was coming that threatened them all. "What do you propose?" he asked finally. Chairwoman Yunji stood beside him. "An alliance, not of ruler and subject, but of equals. Humans have the technology of the precursors. The Empire has the resources of a galaxy. Together, we might have a chance." 1 year after the historic meeting at Harmony Point, the galaxy had changed. Imperial ships now worked alongside human vessels, installing new technology throughout the Empire. In a massive space station orbiting the gas giant Jupiter, Han Bin stood next to Imperial scientist Ji Su. They watched as workers assembled a scaled-down version of Earth's stellar engine. "The first prototype is almost complete," said Ji Su. "With this technology, we can move an entire star system if needed." Han Bin nodded. "It's just the beginning. The full defense network will take at least a century to build." Their project was one of hundreds happening across the galaxy. Earth had shared its technology, and the Empire had provided resources and manpower. Together, they were preparing for a threat most people couldn't even imagine. Far away, in the deep underground facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Su Jin worked with astronomer Daho. Star charts filled the screens around them. "The long-range sensors are working perfectly," said Daho. "We can now see 3 galaxies beyond our own." Su Jin pointed to a dark area on the edge of one galaxy. "The Devourers have already consumed half of this one. They're moving faster than we predicted." "How long do we have?" asked Daho. 800 years, maybe less," said Su Jin. "We need to work faster." Above them, Earth's sun continued its journey. The Imperial fleet no longer surrounded it. Instead, they protected it, escorting the valuable star to its new home outside Imperial space. On Nexus Prime, Emperor Jammin addressed the Imperial Senate. Representatives from all 63 species listened as he spoke. "For 10,000 years, the Empire has believed itself the most advanced civilization in the galaxy," he said. "We were wrong, and that pride nearly led us to disaster." The Emperor motioned to Minister Hyun-ki, who stood at attention nearby. "Some still believe we should have taken human technology by force. They are wrong. The threat we face is greater than any single civilization." On a large screen behind him, images showed the darkness spreading across neighboring galaxies. "The Devourers are coming," continued the Emperor. "Not today, not tomorrow, but they are coming. And when they arrive, they will consume every star, every planet, every living thing unless we are ready." The Senate chamber was silent. Fear had spread through the Empire as news of the Devourers became public. But with fear came determination. "Today, I announce the formation of the Galactic Defense Initiative," said Emperor Jammin. "All resources previously devoted to expansion will now be directed toward preparation. The humans have given us the knowledge we need. We must provide the unity and strength to use it." Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Yuna walked through a field of golden wheat. Captain Ta walked beside her. He had become the Imperial Ambassador to Earth, a position of great honor. "Your people have adapted quickly," said Ta. "Just 1 year ago, the Empire was ready to destroy Earth. Now we work together as if we've been allies forever." Yuma smiled. "Survival is a powerful motivator. Your people learned that we're not the enemy. And your people learned not to hide in the shadows," said Ta. They'd reached the top of a hill. Below them, humans and Imperial citizens worked together, building a new city that would serve as the headquarters for the Galactic Defense Initiative. "Do you think we can win?" asked Ta. "Against the Devourers?" Yuma looked up at the sky. The sun was setting, painting the clouds in red and gold. Earth's artificial star, the engine that had once been their escape plan, now served as the cornerstone of a new alliance. "My ancestors fought twice before," she said. "This time, we stand and fight. With the Empire's reach and our technology, we have a chance. In space, ships from Earth and the Empire flew side by side. The stellar engine technology was being adapted to create a defensive network that would span the entire galaxy. Engineers worked day and night, racing against a clock that had been ticking for millions of years. The Devourers were coming. But this time, the galaxy would be ready. As night fell over Earth, the stars came out. Somewhere among them, the darkness was approaching. But for the first time in human history, they would not face it alone.